The video game industry has been going through major layoffs, and it doesn't look like that is going to stop anytime soon. But it seems that out of the 14,000 layoffs that Amazon just went through, their video game division and also Twitch have been significantly impacted. I have a few different things to show off, but before I get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, join the community in my live streams, and consider supporting through Patreon or YouTube memberships. Now, they haven't come out with very good games in my opinion. I played a bit of New World. I enjoyed it enough, but I still thought that it was really underwhelming. Of course, when it comes to Twitch, they have been in disaster mode. They've been faced with catastrophe after catastrophe, and I wish the CEO would be part of those layoffs, but now it looks like Amazon is just facing significant problems. Sure, part of this is people being replaced by AI, but the other part is just them having to downsize, and we have seen a lot of companies going through this. They overhired during the pandemic, now they have to correct their mistakes, and I can't say that I feel all that bad for people at places like Twitch, right? Twitch is a cesspool, and I do not support the platform, and so I'm not going to shed a tear for the people that were laid off, and especially the leadership with people like Dan Clancy going out and partying when their streamers are being assaulted, not really addressing all of the elephants in the room, not making statements on assaults that are happening to males. I mean, we are talking a pile of problems. So let's start off with games. It says Amazon is laying off more than 14,000 corporate jobs, and per a report from Bloomberg, the video games division, Amazon Game Studios, is not immune to the cuts. While Amazon doesn't specify exactly how many people from its video games division will be laid off, a statement from Steve Boom, Amazon's head of audio, Twitch, and games, does call the cut significant and says that the cuts are happening despite Amazon being, quote, proud of the success it had. And it seems that basically the New World team has been gutted. They have announced a shutdown of the game in 2026. They have, from what we have seen, basically been completely shut down internally. Like, nobody's working there really anymore except for the people that are like winding down the title. And it says that they are halting the game development work specifically around MMOs. But it's not just New World, it's also the Lord of the Rings MMO. Now, while we don't have a lot of information on this Lord of the Rings MMO, I always assumed it was going to be Rings of Power themed, because if they couldn't even adapt Tolkien's work on the big screen, why would they be able to do it in a video game? And so I figured it was just going to be a butchered version of his characters and story and world. And so I didn't have a lot of hype for it. But at the same time, I'm a big MMO fan. I do love real Lord of the Rings, Tolkien's LOTR, so I would have kept my eye on it. Maybe I would have played it at release to highlight it, though that's not going to happen anymore because it seems that this team is also completely gone. This individual, who was the senior gameplay engineer, said this morning, I was part of the layoffs at Amazon Games alongside my incredibly talented peers on New World and our fledgling Lord of the Rings game. Y'all would have loved it. It's always tough to see such a strong team go through something like this. I've been lucky to work with some of the most skilled, creative, and kind developers I've ever met here. I'm planning on taking some well-deserved time off to recharge and reflect after 10 years of working with this team, but I'm also open to new opportunities once I'm ready. If you're looking for someone with deep experience in gameplay systems, world tech, and mentoring teams, I'd love to connect to everyone at Amazon Games. It's been an honor to build alongside you. And I hate to say this, but I don't feel that bad. And I don't like to revel in the fact that people are losing their jobs, but at the same time, we are talking about Amazon Game Studios, who has had a ton of problems. They aren't seemingly hiring people who are maybe the best pick for the job. They definitely have some DEI initiatives in place. And I don't want to say that everybody on these teams were simply diversity hires. I'm sure that there were some talented individuals, but just because there are a few good apples in the bunch doesn't mean that I'm going to sit here and cry for the rest of the rotten bunch. I feel a little bit bad, I suppose, on like a human level, but at the same time, if they're good at their jobs, they will find another job in the industry at some point. And according to a report from The Verge, they've added that the driving force behind these cuts comes from Amazon pushing further into AI, which isn't particularly shocking. I do think that the AI bubble is going to burst. I do not think that AI is going to be as successful as they expect. Sure, I have always thought that AI would be an okay tool, but I think that while they're significantly cutting things like people in the video game division, I do think that eventually they're going to have to hire them back if, right, their numbers were not extremely bloated. Now, for some companies, I bet that they're not going to rehire because they hired thousands upon thousands of extra people for certain teams and certain projects, but I don't think that we are ever going to see AI completely take over to the point where humans aren't making video games and entertainment and art anymore, because AI can only copy, it cannot create. And I think that a lot of these companies, right, are going to have to maybe, yeah, sure, refocus their teams, but I don't think that we're ever going to see AI completely take over the video game industry. That's for sure. But to add to the video game layoffs, Twitch employees are reportedly affected by these layoffs. It says, I was laid off at Twitch today. I was at Twitch for 11 years. I started off working in the trust and safety teams, then moved to customer experience. I was the person who built the entire fraud program at Twitch. One of the reasons I never told people what I did for work, I was the one keeping the bad actors off Twitch who steal and abuse revenue on the platform. I guess I did my job well since they let me go, but I do have some great stories of being there for over a decade. I feel like that's supposed to be a threat, like, ooh, I've got stories and I'm not afraid to release them, so maybe they'll get more money in their package. Maybe they will be rehired. Maybe they will get, glowing recommendations for their future job hunt. Either way, though, it kind of sounds like they are potentially releasing a little bit of a threat there. I feel like this is a major red flag, though. I did my job too well. I don't know if I fully believe that. I mean, that could be the case for sure. Savvy also says that she actually thinks that this is a red flag too. That's the issue. They never stop punishing people who do their job well. So many people shuffled around over the years. The drama about the creative section, partner managers punished. I mean, he worked in trust and safety. No one trusts Twitch, and safety is kind of a massive issue. So, I mean, yeah, him losing his job didn't just come out of nowhere. You know what I mean? It shouldn't have been a surprise, which I definitely agree with. Like, who trusts Twitch and how safe is the platform? Not at all whatsoever. We also had found out that apparently they eliminated around 500 roles. In addition, Amazon's Twitch division is reportedly eliminating around 500 roles, continuing a trend of downsizing that began in 2023 after the platform's restructuring under new leadership. Cough, cough, Dan Clancy. Sources also indicate layoffs in Amazon's device and Alexa unit, where nearly 2,000 employees have been affected as demand for smart home devices slows globally. Yeah, because people have realized, wow, all of this technology is listening to me and it's just giving me ads and it's extremely expensive. I really want to know how Luna is doing. I see a lot of advertisements for it on X, and also when I'm watching Twitch, even though I don't really watch Twitch that much, like every single time I do, there is an ad for Luna, but I haven't heard anybody actually boasting about how they use it, anybody talking about how they love it. It just seems like another Google Stadia to me that is going to die. Now, this one did survive significantly longer, but I just feel like maybe if they had released it in 5 years, people would have viewed it differently. But right now, that's definitely not the case. So they are going through some massive problems right now. People on New World are getting laid off. People on the Lord of the Rings MMO are getting laid off. As far as we are aware, nothing's going on with like Crystal Dynamics. The Tomb Raider project is still well underway, which I wish that they actually would have gone through layoffs, because I don't want another modern day Tomb Raider remake or reboot, whatever direction they're actually going in. But we're also hearing that Twitch, the platform that of course hosts terrorist sympathizers and also hosts animal abusers and also hosts gamblers, also hosts essay content, just a terrible platform overall, is going through layoffs. And I just wish that Dan Clancy would have been part of this wave of layoffs. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this important and informative, make sure to give it a like, share it, and subscribe to the channel. And of course, if you didn't, give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I'll talk to you all again in the next video really soon.